Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Two weeks down, 2 weeks to go before the Bengals kick off the 2023 season against the Cleveland Browns. Your Bengals have completed 2 preseason games so far. They haven't won one yet. Apparently, you can tie now without going into overtime. This is Bengals on the Brain. I'm Joe Goodberry. The show is presented by First Star Logistics. The Bengals went into Atlanta and saw old friend Jesse Bates get his first playing time with the Falcons in a not a real game, but in a game atmosphere. And the Bengals defense got to play finally. We got to see some starters and a Zach Taylor era in the preseason, and it was the first team defensive unit. They went one drive, which could have been as quick as 3 plays if they had gone a 3 and out and forced a punt. It went much longer than that. And we're going to break it down the entire drive. We're going to talk about I think we do mention every single player in this clip coming up. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to go over. Very interesting. How much were they showing? How much were they not showing? I think there's a few things we can take and say they're going to do this in the regular season. A couple of points to talk about the Falcons offense too, and how teams may try and attack the Bengals defense, which solid plan by the Falcons despite being a preseason game. If there's no game planning, well, they did a pretty good job of staying within a section of the playbook and working off that. So I think that's a good indication of the Falcons offense, and it's a good test for the Bengals defense. And we got a lot to go over here. So let's get to the tape right away and not waste too much of your time. Let's dive in. Okay, so we got the film booted up here. We're going to start from the first play, go all the way to, if you're watching, you know what the last play of this drive was. Bengals are going to be the bend but don't break defense, and we're starting from the end zone angle because the Falcons are going to be a heavy run team, so we're going to see a lot of these plays here. You're not going to see all 3 angles every single time. The parts I want to start with, though, are our first look at Nick's got there. So we've got a motion coming across from the left. That's important because we're going to see motion on, I believe, and let's check it because I didn't write this down, but I believe every single offensive play for the Falcons, and it's going to be a big narrative here on the first drive. And our first look at Nick's got there, number 33. He's going to come out of the picture out of the box and be replaced by Mike Hilton because of the motion. So if you're an offense, think of it this way. If I can get a safety out of the box as a 7th guy and put a 5'8", 180-pound nickel corner in the box, that's a win in most scenarios. Mike Hilton's not most nickel corners, so, it's going to be 7 versus 6 here is what I wanted to show. But that's not ideal for any type of running team to run into a box that's heavier than what you'd like to run in. If anything, it'd be even. So they're going to leave Sam Hubbard on the edge here unblocked, hoping that with a little bit of boot action, the jet motion or the motion action by the receiver coming across, that Hubbard will have to respect it and not really get involved in the run game and not really attack down the line. So it really is 6 versus 6 as they're running to the left here and leaving Hubbard unblocked. And they do a good job of getting to it, and Hubbard gets in there, and it's a gain of 3 or so. But I want you to watch Logan Wilson, the linebacker they just paid. He's going to move over into the gap, the A gap, and that center wants to climb up and get to him. But Logan Wilson's going to drop his shoulder into him, force the running back to cut against the grain, and cut back to the unblocked defender, which is Sam Hubbard, which gives the defense an advantage or regains that advantage for the defense. Real quick, we got a quick passing play on the second play of the game. I didn't mention it, but as we got, again, a guy in motion, I want you to watch BJ Hill at the bottom of the screen or in the middle of the screen here. So again, we've got motion. They're going to snap the ball as the guy's coming across. This is going to bring Mike Hilton back into the box, just like before. I wanted to point that out. Did you see BJ Hill right there? Let's go back to him. He had a really strong game in just his first drive, but I want to say he had 2 pass rush wins right there. Arm over move after hitting him with the power. Third play now. Again, we got motion pre-snap. we've got a play action, bootleg, rollout, and a first down conversion to Kyle Pitts, number 8. The important parts of this play that I wanted to point out were, again, the motion, of course, but this is the Bengals 3-4 defense. You see the 3 down linemen, and you see the 4 linebackers. Now, you could call it a 5-2, and I would have no problem calling it a 5-2 because we know Hendrickson and Hubbard are defensive ends in name, but they are in a 2-point stance, and they are standing up. And, I mean, if you wanted to insert TJ Watt into this, he would do the same thing. So he's called a linebacker, but it's just however you want to call your defense. So if you want to say this is a 5 D linemen, 2 linebackers, that is completely okay with me. And this is something the Bengals like to go to a lot. If you remember when they had BJ Hill and Larry Ogunjobi, they liked to go to a 3-man front, 5-man front with 3 defensive tackles on the field. It was an advantage for them. And you see it now. And Josh Tupou is playing the nose tackle spot. DJ Reader is at D tackle, BJ Hill at D tackle. One thing I wanted to point out, because I noticed this after the first drive, watch BJ Hill again. We're getting these stretch zone action runs. The backside is going to cut and try and take your legs out if you're a defensive lineman. And they're getting at BJ Hill a couple times. They even got one on DJ Reader too. And Hill actually missed Monday's practice with general soreness because I think he got a couple licks in the lower body area here that weren't ideal. Now I want you to put your eyes here on this play to Nick Scott coming into the box when the motion goes away. So watch Nick Scott. As the action's going to go that way, the opposite way, his eyes are in the backfield. He's like, okay, do I need to fill this run? They've been running run heavy here. But we've got Kyle Pitts coming across on the drag. And you see right there, Nick Scott goes, oh no, that's my guy. Let me plant and cut back. And that's why Kyle Pitts ended up so wide open, because Nick Scott just, had a lapse in preseason. You know how it is. First time being out there. Again, we're out there in the 3-4 defense, 5-2 defense, whatever you want to call it. And the run is pretty well set on the right side, on the play side of the play. Everyone's got their gap. Their at least somewhat head is on the correct side. So we're going to see Bijan Robinson say, okay, I need to cut it to the left. There's really maybe I could have this little skinny hole right there, but as you see in the orange is Germaine Pratt. He's in position to take that. So let me cut it up between left tackle, left guard, and hit that hole, which is where he goes. But I want you to focus on Logan Wilson for a second. Logan Wilson here, he's got his eyes inside. He sees, should I go over the top? Let me peek back inside here as the cutback could be happening. And I think he kind of loses sight of the ball carrier. And that's where Bijan ends up cutting up back to the right side of the field after Logan Wilson takes that peek. But get your eyes over to Germaine Pratt. He pretty much does the same thing. He's peeking. He's looking for Robinson. Ends up taking on 2 lead blockers here, which actually opens up the hole for Robinson to hit. So this is a really well set up run by Bijan, and then makes guys miss in the second level, getting caught by the third level defender and being tackled by Dax Hill. Flip it to the other side here. Again, we got pre-snap motion with 40 going in motion this time. And we're going to watch Nick Scott come up. He's going to fill, and he's the one who ends up ducking his eyes, going a little bit too low there, and missing the tackle. Cleaned up by Dax Hill. Pre-snap motion again. Kyle Pitts. Take a drink every time I say pre-snap motion. You won't make it. And this is a handoff that they snuff out pretty quickly. No missed tackles this time. That's not the interesting parts of the play. Let's flip it to the end zone angle. We got Nick Scott coming into the box again. We've got the pre-snap motion again. I want your eyes to go over to Mike Hilton on the left side. He's telling everyone, hold it. We're okay. We're good here. He's telling, you see right there, stop sign or the hand up. We're good here. We can stay in the spot. And then they don't snap it right away. So as the Falcons readjust once they see what the Bengals are in, the Bengals say, okay, Mike Hilton's doing a lot of communication on this first drive. We question who's going to pick up the communication at the safety position. It may just be Mike Hilton being the nickel guy. So this is a strong side of the offense, strong side of the defense. They've got all 3 tight ends over there. The Bengals must want something there. You see their linebacker swap. You see Mike Hilton go that way. You see the safeties swap. And then you got Taylor-Britt coming in from the corner, laying a nice, solid form tackle as Bijan tries to spin out of it. We got a gang tackle scenario by the Bengals defense. Good job overall by everyone. Get rallying to the ball, filling every gap. As we're going to see here, watch Sam Hubbard as he's going to get down blocked by two guys here, two tight ends. That's okay because Logan Wilson's going to scrape over the top and fill this hole, which forces Bijan to run directly into Taylor-Britt. So it's again, run defense is a team effort. Everyone's got to play their job. Everyone's got to play their gap. If they do, they'll be all right. We got man coverage. You can tell because Taylor-Britt chases the receiver in motion pre-snap. We got a slant flat combo. The slant's hopefully going to pick off that second corner, which he almost does there. But it gives him enough room for the flat to get open and convert for a first down. So again, we haven't seen anything too crazy by the Falcons or by Desmond Ridder. It's a lot of play action. We got a blitz by Dax Hill coming from the left side here. It's a lot of play action, a lot of schemed stuff, a lot of easy reads, simple reads, half-field reads out of the Falcons offense, which is what I think we should expect. But it's interesting how the Bengals handle it from here. Missed tackle by Taylor-Britt, a little bit over-aggressive. That side of the field, the boundary, it's going to be interesting to see how they tackle this year. Well, I think Taylor-Britt is a good tackler and a physical tackler. He can be a bit reckless at times. And then I wonder with DJ Turner on the other side, tackling is not his strong suit. He can do it, and he's willing, but he's clearly a smaller guy. Got another play-action pass here. Falcons go right back to the well, right back to the play they just ran, just out of a different personnel package. And let's see how Nick Scott handles it this time. Pre-snap motion, 40, ended up in the backfield as a fullback. Here comes Nick Scott into the box. Play action to the left, boot to the right. And we're going to drop it off to Drake London, who gets tackled by Dax Hill and Logan Wilson. So keep your eyes on Nick Scott here. Number 33 clearly to the left. Let's see how he reacts to the same motion we just saw. Pause it there. Same thing. We got a guy coming across the middle, dragging, and Nick Scott's on it. See how quickly he turned and run with it? Maybe even overran it a little bit. Could have probably stayed with him a little bit closer. Throws his man down, the fullback, number 40. Still, that shows, hey, I made a mistake a couple plays ago. I know what I need to do. Bengals in single high safety again. They pretty much showed this the entire first drive. And we have an incomplete pass to Drake London with Taylor-Britt in coverage. The deep safety was Nick Scott. So we got Dax Hill on the left side here in the box, communicating between he and Germaine Pratt. Watch Sam Hubbard on the edge. Now, you got to defend the run anytime there's a play action, right? So he's got to stay to the outside. He's got to play his gap. But once he realizes that it's play action, he's going to run this arc now. And he's going to get really, if he was an A-plus athlete, this could be a potential for a sack here because he just reads it so quickly and so well. He gets a hand on Ridder, and Hendrickson, just letting him know we're right there. We're close. You don't have much longer to hold that ball. We're coming. Your right tackle cannot block us. That's Caleb McGarry, who got a decent deal in the offseason. Better run blocker than pass blocker, but still. Let's watch Taylor-Britt in press man coverage against Drake London. He's all over him, man. High ball. Looks like London should be able to get to it right off his hands. So good job. We'll take that. He's physical. He's a physical corner. Both tight ends in motion. You see Mike Hilton right away, like, whoa, wait. Okay, we got it. We're good. He's the one doing the communicating, like I said. We got a stretch, it looks like zone, off the left end. If we're on defense, we're off our right end, which we will get that angle now. Again, both tight ends go in motion. They kind of see if they can create a little confusion. I think the Falcons are going to be doing this a lot. It's a vanilla offense, but at the same time, watch how everyone plays their gap, okay? 1, 2, right there on the edge. So the first read outside, we talked about this before. If Hendrickson's to the outside, he's going to next read the 3-tech. If he's to the outside, which he still is, then we're going to cut it up behind him. And the two extra blockers here on the duo blocks are going to try and branch off and get to the linebackers. So watch them as they try to get to the linebackers. If you can get to the linebackers, this can be a huge run. Left side, can't get to Germaine Pratt, right? He's reaching for him. Pratt's already in position, reading, getting in front. Center, can he get to Logan Wilson? He can't. Logan Wilson gets his shoulder and head to the outside. He's in position for Germaine Pratt to come and clean it up after a minimal gain. And like I said about Ridder and facing these guys, look at Ridder right here in the middle. They were going after those cut blocks, man. They're scary. That's why we don't mess around in preseason. Not worth it. First time we get almost a 2-safety look, even though you can tell one guy's way ahead of the other. They're leaning for it. It's going to be a single high safety right away. Ridder reads it, drops back, makes a nice throw. Probably the hardest throw Ridder had of this entire drive, but it's a simple throw, right? It's just a go ball, put it up there. Drake London over DJ Turner. But this is their 3-safety look, guys. We're waiting for it. How much will the Bengals show? How much will the Falcons show? Falcons are showing things. Bengals are too. I think this is what their 3-safety look is going to look like. It's exactly what I described from what I saw in practice. Nick Scott is the deep guy. Battle closer in the box. He rotates here into the box as the robber. And Dax Hill covering one-on-one with the detached tight end. So if you're wondering what it'll look like, I think we're getting a good glimpse of it right here. That means who's off the field? Germaine Pratt's off the field and replaced by Jordan Battle, who comes down. Jordan Battle comes down and covers Bijan Robinson. I think this is going to be something we're going to see at least 4, 5, 6 times a game, depending on the opponent. It's a nice, well-laid ball. We talked about the arm length of DJ Turner. I think that touched his fingertips. If he was a little bit longer, a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, maybe he knocks that down. I think he covers that well. I think he tracks and locates the ball well. He's just not big enough there. Pre-snap motion, 80 comes across. Got some communication between Pratt and Hilton because he's coming back. I think they knew it. They're already leaning towards it. It's a screen pass. Nice one-handed catch by Bijan Robinson. Take him in your fantasy league. I'd like to. And if you're going to critique anything about this play, you might look at DJ Turner and say, hey, go outside, force him back to Germaine Pratt, or close together on them. Make him go try to split you guys. Instead, he takes the cheese and goes inside just a little bit, misses an arm tackle. It's only maybe an extra yard or two, but it's something worth noting. Next play here. Great block on DJ Ridder. I'm sorry. I want you to look at Josh Tupou, though. Let me go back real quick because I don't want to mess this up. So this is a reach block by the right guard. He's going to get out in front, attack this outside shoulder, and turn Ridder inside. This is you don't see this too often. It's a very, very, very good block by the right guard. And then get our eyes to Josh Tupou, who's scraping and pulling 2 blockers with him. He comes in, completely kills the momentum of the run, and everyone rallies around and makes the tackle. Slip the other side and really focus on Josh Tupou now. As, like we said, before on the previous play, the center wants to climb. Look what he's doing. He's holding that guy in there. He is not letting the center get to Logan Wilson. That's what a nose tackle is supposed to do. You can get called for it at times. But if you're crafty enough, if you're good enough, if you just hold him for a split second, which I slowed it down 20% of the speed so you can really tell. If you can do it fast enough and well enough and clean enough, you keep your linebackers free to come up and make the tackle. And that's what Josh Tupou there. And it's one of the reasons why Tupou is on this roster. We get a scramble by Desmond Ridder going out of bounds. I want you to watch Cam Sample on this edge. He wins. Look at him get around that. Go back to it. Gets that hand right up to his neck. Look him search for it. Get it off. Lift it out of there. Rip with the right arm. And then cut this corner. If there was any other interior rush there, you may have gotten to Ridder. Good job by Dax Hill picking up the running back. I want to mention that because we got a play later where they come back to it. One more look at Sample getting around that corner. And then Cam Taylor-Britt and Germaine Pratt forcing Ridder out of bounds. We're getting close here. We're really close in the end zone. I want you to show you again. Dax Hill picked this guy up last time. Now it's Bijan. They're running almost the same thing. And this time, nobody picks up Bijan. If Ridder would have seen him, that could have been a touchdown easily. Eyes on Cam Sample again. This is the very next play, guys. Two-hand swiper on the outside again, beating Caleb McGarry. I don't remember what the penalty is for. It's on them, but I don't remember who held who here. Because it wasn't McGarry. McGarry didn't get a hand on him. Look at him, two-hand swipe, went around the arc. Man, if he had just a little bit more burst, a little bit more bend, that'd be 2 sacks in a row. And in fact, I skipped over it because we don't need to see it, but the very next play is McGarry with a false start. So that's how they end up back at the 19-yard line. Cam Sample had him shook. Absolutely shook. Completion over the middle of the field. Everyone's in man coverage here. Dax Hill's the deep free safety. Nick Scott's got the tight end. And we got Logan Wilson blitzing. So we're actually going to get a blitz here, which allows Joseph Ossai to bend back inside and try and attack this guard, which he closes that pocket. I don't know if I'd say that's a pressure, but he definitely made that quarterback uncomfortable. If you didn't have a wide open, easy target, Ossai may have affected this play a little bit more than this. Oh, very close. He seems like that kind of guy where he's a pain in the butt, but can't always disengage and make the tackle and finish plays. He's really close on a lot of plays in this game, which we'll see in the next episode because we're just not going to get to them all right now. Got another run to the right. We got a nice tackle by Dax Hill. Almost no gain on this. But let's focus on Josh Tupou once again here. As he moved over and adjusted to the B gap. He's going to push 63, jolt him back. And when 85 is coming across to pick up the backside D end, it's enough to get them to trip. That forcible contact and then dive forces Bijan to slow down and then cut, and then Dax Hill finishes the play. So again, put your eyes real quick on Tupou. Watch how when his initial contact on the guard, boom, knocks him back, forces him to get tripped. You got outside contain, keeping his arm free by Cam Sample, allowing Dax Hill to knife in there and make a play. Mike Hilton in man covering. He's got a loop all the way around these guys. Now you want to snap this ball when he's as far away as you can be, and they do. And now let's pause it again. You've got Mike Hilton now stacked because the slot receiver they snap it and he's running right behind that X receiver, and Hilton's got to be behind here. So you've got so much you can run all the way to the corner. You can cut it back in. You can do so much when that guy is so far away from you. You have a two-way go. You can tie them up. You can switch your releases and really mix it up against the defense. And what you get here is a kind of like a jerk route where he's going to go out and then come back in. Mike Hilton closes. Joseph Ossai intercepts this pass. A couple things to note as we end this drive. Look at him. Joseph Ossai is on the wrong side. Germaine Pratt saying, dude, get over there. You're supposed to be over there. And he barely gets over there in time. And let's say he didn't. Let's say if we didn't have this type of communication on this defense. He doesn't get the chip on Pitts that he wants, drops into coverage, sees the tip ball, picks it off, makes a big play, and he almost wasn't even over there. It's funny to me. You see Dax down here communicating too. He seems like communicating all the time. Good job by Mike Hilton. The ball was, if you saw the Falcons broadcast, they mentioned it. Cam Sample was inside here too. I wanted to mention that because a lot of people were asking, will we get Cam Sample ever on the same edge? Ever get him at defensive tackle? What confused me right there is that's why Ossai thought he was supposed to go on the other side. I'm thinking he saw Cam Sample's end over there. So I'm just going to go over and play this end. But what this is the Bengals 3-4 look. Let me go back, actually. I'm doing this live. So the Bengals do have a 3-4 look that they'll rotate to out of their base defense. Yeah, they will. And that's what it is. You can see how tight these splits are. And they'll rotate it and put Germaine Pratt. They'll walk Pratt down as the outside linebacker. That's exactly what this is. And that's why the confusion was there for Ossai. And I don't know where Pratt goes here. But he just vacates. Oh, he was ready for Bijan to run that out route. He was ready. Pratt knew the play, or he was very in tune with it. Picked off by Joseph Ossai. Drive over. No points allowed. So that was the first drive. First team defense getting their first action of 2023. And I thought they did well. And Lou Anarumo was in his bag. He had some blitzes. They played a 3-4 defense, 4-3 defense. They got in their nickel despite only 2 receivers being out there with the Falcons. They can do that because of Mike Hilton. Mike Hilton's communication was key. Germaine Pratt's communication was key to the final play. Especially the one thing I did know, I went back and looked. As I showed Dax Hill pick up the running back in the end zone, and then they go back to it, and nobody picks up Bijan Robinson. So when they bring that guy in motion on the last play, and Mike Hilton goes with him, when I said Germaine Pratt went out of the screen, it's to get out of the way of the receiver, and so that he won't get picked on the out route covering the running back. So not only does he get Ossai in the right spot, he sets it up so that Desmond Ridder doesn't even look for the running back on that side of the field because Pratt's in position before the snap even happens. He runs to the spot and forces Ridder to come back. So communication there. Josh Tupou making plays, showing why he is a lock to make this roster. Cam Sample, a guy who came away from practice thinking, this dude might be good. He looked great. Joseph Ossai, that's my candidate for the breakout player of the year for the Bengals. He makes the big play to finish. He has a great game overall. They look good. The team looks good. And then on Monday, Chidobe Awuzie taking his first reps in 11 on 11. So if there was a weakness, maybe it was that DJ Turner, just isn't ready yet, got picked on a little bit. If Awuzie is back in there and healthy and looking good, then the defense is good. And yeah, they will probably miss some of the fluidity and communication and trust that you had on the back half at safety, but they're already working in 3 safety looks and getting Jordan Battle in there. And Dax Hill looks like he's taken a step in the right direction. And if you play, I've said this, but if you play defensive fantasy football, I want Dax because I think they're going to move him around and get him in a position to make plays. And he had a bunch of tackles here. I think he's going to get his hands on the ball or be near the ball a whole bunch. So I'm excited. I think their first showing was great. I think, you get a long extended drive. No one really gets hurt. You get a lot of different scenarios. You get to play through a lot of things. You get to communicate for the first time in real scenarios and real situations. And then you make a stop at the end when your back is against the wall, as this defense has done time and time again during their last 2 years of a run. They just seem to make plays when a play is needed, and they did again here. And it just gives you, it's a little warm blanket. My kids still have their, especially the young one, the 6-year-old still gets her blanket every once in a while when she's, feeling sad or whatever. That pick by Joseph Ossai is yeah, that's this defense. They'll be all right. They've had some changes, they've lost some players, but they're going to be fine. That's the Bengals defense under Lou Anarumo, and they'll be okay. So we got more tape to dive into because we spent all the time just looking at that drive, which I found very interesting. This has been Bengals on the Brain. I'm Joe Goodberry. The show is brought to you by First Star Logistics. And we'll see you again this week on Friday.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realized self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.